I want to talk about Omi Tutu
Okay.
and Crossroads.
Okay.
Tell us about Omi Tutu and Crossroads. Like, what's going on with the label? What's going on with the party? Like, break it us
Well,
down for us.
actually,
Please. Break it down for us, please. I'm sorry.
Omi Tutu actually is the record label that it's a small independent record label that I opened up, and I started releasing my material on that label. Uh, I would say there are a few tracks on there, stuff that I produced. I also have a couple of things that other people produce that's on my label as well.
Hmm.
It's still there, and the good thing about moving to Puerto Rico also and being in the situation that I'm in, it gives me more time to be creative in the studio.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm working on an album. There's an album that's in the works. It's taking its time, but you got to take your time with that kind of stuff. You just can't jump in and just release anything. It has to. There's a certain sound that you have to be happy with. That's you, okay? If I
Absolutely.
feel that what I created is coming out into that song, then I'm happy with it. I just don't
Mm.
want to release the first thing that comes to mind, and yeah, I'm sure like everybody else too, they have to be satisfied, with
Yeah, makes
what
sense.
is what is produced. Yeah. As far as Crossroads is the party end of what I do. It's a party that I created a few years ago back in New York City. Uh, when I play at other people's party, that's my label, my stamp. It's Crossroads. So when I do my boat parties as well, it's a Crossroads boat ride. So it's just
Indeed.
it's the staple of the party.
What's the spiritual connection to all of it?
Wow,
Let's
the
get into it. I
spirit,
told you we are
the
playing here. We're going
the
deep.
spirit, the spiritual connection. I say the music is the spiritual connection, okay? Because when you can have people coming into your party and enjoying themselves and hugging and kissing and crying and basically every releasing all the emotions on the dance floor,
Yeah.
that's a spiritual connection for me, and that's why I call it crossroads, because all the crossroads are coming together and they're meeting at the
Hmm.
crossroad. Right? So that was the purpose of naming it Crossroads. And, it's the crowds that come. I'm fortunate enough to say that some of the people that come to my party, the dancers, are very religious. They're very spiritual. They come in, they enjoy themselves, and it's just the energy.
I
The
say they're
energy.
religious. Are they religious in the concept of coming in regularly, or religious in the actual form of actually, religion and on
Well, of course, you
some.
get you get a lot of people that are into the religion and they do come. Okay, and I've seen some stuff on the dance floor that would just blow you away. Okay, I've seen people
Sure.
go to another place.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. We've seen that. It's
I've seen
crazy.
that lately. I've been having a lot of drummers coming to my parties. They're playing live drums. There's one brother in New York. Actually, he's a babalao, and he comes with his bata. And the energy that this guy releases on that dance floor is just unbelievable. Okay. And I've seen to the point where you're in the party, but when this guy starts playing, he sort of like pulls them in with his energy, and you just see
Crazy.
them go off in front of the drums. I've seen people throw themselves. I've seen people jumping in the air. I've just seen it all, you know. And music has a lot to do. Spiritually has a lot to do with music. As you know, the drum is
Hmm.
used in ceremonies, uh, religious ceremonies, and in clubs, people were starting to you know, bring that bring that feeling. And it's all about, like I said, coming in and just forgetting about all your worries, all your fears, and just releasing.
I want to elaborate a little bit more on that because, as a personal story that I am very happy to share here, because you were very pivotal in opening my senses to Ifa, Yoruba, and the spirited sounds, which for many is very much considered as something scary, something almost diabolical because they don't understand what it is,
Right.
and they have been exposed to um, well, the kind of information that will lead them to believe, or actually cliches that will lead them to believe that it's the devil's music,
Right.
and better yet, these practices and these religious ancient African religions are obviously not worthy of any sort of respect and consideration. Whereas it seems as though it's very much part of the culture, for example, in New York, and how all the producers tend to all be connected to Ifa in some way, shape, or form. There's also different, obediences and circles, in all that. Maybe you can explain better, but and certainly you can explain better. But I remember when you took me for the first time at a Botanica,
Mhm.
um, and actually you offered me my first Obatala beats,
Yep.
and you. It was a very powerful experience. I still remember you offered me this agua de cologne. You just took me under your wing and sort of like introduced me to this new spectrum of possibilities and realities as far as understanding the music. And the reason why I speak so openly about this is because I think that there's there's not enough demystification about that, and it's rightfully so. I would say guarded to be preserved from any outside negative influences. But I think that um, there's no reason to be ashamed of who we are and what we are, and the beauty of what we're doing. I think transpires beyond any considerations, and that was a bit of a long statement, but I think I want to I want I want to get you to maybe speak a little bit more on you know that actual mystique with the drums. How come this spirited rhythm, and what do we mean by spirited rhythm? Why is that such an intrinsically connected energy with the music that we do, that makes it such a contagious kind of
Right.
energy that everybody gets drawn to?
Right.
Sorry, a bit long
Well,
question, but it's not. You
no,
feel me.
no, no, no. Uh, let's just say that it's come a long way. The religion has come a long way. A lot of people are starting to understand it a little bit more, opposed to what it was. Let's say when I first started going out, you never heard anything about, you know, uh, santeria, drumming. You never heard of any of that stuff. And now it's sort of like in the forefront. A lot of people do understand it. Of course, you have some people that don't understand it that would, you know, come to a party and say, "Oh, this is for crazy people" or something like that. But more and more people are starting to be in tune with what's going on as far as the religion is concerned. Uh, the drumming, I don't know if you ever been to ceremonies uh, where drums play a big part in the religion on
I've seen
bringing down.
documentaries and on YouTube, but I've never been to one physically. No.
Right. Well, the next time you come down, I'll take you to one so you can experience that. Really
With pleasure.
intense. Uh, And what it does, it calls down the spirits, or it calls down the saint itself. Someone that's crowned, when that actual song is played for that one particular saint that person's crowned, it calls that person's uh, saint down, and you invoke the spirit or the saint itself. And I've seen that actually take place in clubs a couple of times, and some people say that it's kind of sacrilegious to do that at a club, but then yet some people, yeah, they do it because they feel it, and they're just
Hmm.
releasing. Yeah, they're just releasing it. But as I said, at my parties, I've been seeing a lot of that more and more, and it just brings the right energy. It's all peace, harmony, love, and that's
Yeah.
what you want. That's what you want. That's what it's all about. You know.
It's very much to explain maybe even deeper to people. It's very much it's earthly, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not earthly in a manner of saying that it's resonating at a low frequency. Not at all. It's it's just nature. It's the true unleashing and tapping into this immense power of nature and
Exactly.
this Orula's creation, right? And Orula, which stands
Exactly.
for God, right? And it's like that's what it is. You're tapping into all things divine because you are a reflection of that divinity, and you just need to identify, as you said, your crown. But like, explain maybe a little bit more though, because I think that it's so important for people to understand. And the reason where I'm trying to go is because, especially with this whole pandemic, you're seeing a lot of like, little documentaries. Can you hear me well?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're seeing a lot of documentaries about, there's satanic this and people worshiping the devil, this and that and the other. And unfortunately, um, obviously, there's always going to be a positive and negative frequency to anything and everything, right? It's like
Right.
in this particular case, because we're tapping into the spirited realm, which is invisible and which is actually very much spirited in its essence. It's quick to shortcut, even though there are people who are using these forces for the
For the
wrong.
wrong thing. Right. Right.
That's not what we're doing, obviously. But I think it's
Right.
also it's important for people to understand. That's why I wanted you to explain a little bit more, because this really is important for people to understand, not to get it twisted. Music is a
Right.
profoundly, as Fela Kuti said, music is a spiritual thing. You should never play with music.
Right. Right. Like you should not play with spirits or saints.
I'll say exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, like you said, in everything, there's a good, but people tend to, not everybody, to use it as bad. Okay, so it's really just the individual. And like I said, when it comes back to the dancing and the spirituality, and dancing and getting together, uh, it's all for a good reason. And those that frown upon it don't understand it. Okay, but if they did understand what was going on, it would be embraced. So that's the whole thing with, as far as, clubbing and going to dancing and, stuff like that. It's like you have to understand, like anything else in life, you have to understand it, because if you don't understand it, then you're just basically going to shy away from it, or you're going to criticize it.
Deep and true.
Hmm.
I still remember, man, that day you took me to that botanica. It was it was an experience. I had people, y'all gotta understand about. Okay, can you explain what is a botanica, so that, because a lot of people don't understand what it is or may not know what it is.
Botanica is a store that you go to where you buy supplies, or you buy things that you need. Uh, like, let's say, for example, baños. In English, it's a bath. It's sort of like perfumes and uh, plants and things that you need sort of to do cleansings. Uh, you can also buy, say, for example, soup tureens, which are the casings where a saint lives. So that's as you get further into the religion, you receive your santos, you get your soup tureens, and your santos live inside the soup tureens. You can buy beads, you can buy cacaria, which I'm sure you know what that is, the little white chalk that you use to do cleansing.
Yes.
Uh, Anything that you need for religious purposes, you can go into Botanica and get it. You can buy music, you can buy clothing, you can buy the beads, you can buy uh,
The
your guerreros.
oils. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
The
can
guerreros.
buy
Yeah.
anything that you need. You go to a Botanica and that's where you would find it. Yeah.
What's the difference between Yoruba, Ifa, Santeria, Candomblé, Voodoo? Like people mix it up, and
Right.
there's so many misconceptions. According to your knowledge and understanding, can you please a little bit put a little bit shed a little bit of light
Well,
on that?
Santeria is what it's called in the Hispanic community. I'm from Cuba. It's called Santeria. The Yoruba, I believe it's from
Nigeria.
Africa, right?
Hmm.
Nigeria. Ifa, that is well, I'm sure you're familiar with that as well. Uh, Ifa is a step above, a step above. That's the best that I can tell you about it. It's the best I
Candomblé.
can really. Yeah, Condomplé. That's in Brazil. That's what it's called in Brazil. Now they practice it as well, but it's totally different. Okay, in Santeria, you receive your principal saints plus your
Hmm.
crown. I believe in Brazil, you receive one santo, which is your crown, and all the others you get them as time goes on. But in Santeria, you receive them all, at one point. The main, like Yamaya, Chuno, Atala, Chango, you get your guerreros before that.
Hmm.
Uh, Olokun, you get Ochosi, Ogun. Those are all santos that you receive. In Brazil, I believe you receive just one at uh, at a ceremony, and as time goes on, as I said, you receive the rest.
This goes to explain why, obviously beyond these practices, we say music is a spiritual thing. It's a very profoundly spiritual thing.
Yes, yes. Well,
It's not some phrase.
no one would ever learn everything within the religion, okay? Because it's just an ongoing process. You just keep learning and learning and learning and learning. There's no one particular person that knows it all. Okay, you're always learning something. Uh, it's the best. That's the best that I can explain that. Yeah.
Another thing that impressed me a lot with the religion is the openness. There's women, homosexuals. I mean, there is no limitations as to who can become a priest. I
No,
believe
not at all.
there
Not
are
at all.
maybe certain rituals that cannot be practiced by one or the other. If I'm not wrong, but this is something that really impressed me the first time I was exposed to it. I was like, oh wow, this person is a lesbian or is gay or whatever, and they
Right.
are
Right.
actually like in the religion, and they actually are held in regard and respected.
Right.
Women are actually held in regard and respected, and they can actually be, and they are, very, very, very influential within the practice and the religion and elsewhere. There's this sense of always sort of like, there's this exclusion going on in most other, religious approaches, which is something that really went. That's also something that helped me tap into my Pan Africanism. and really decide to embrace that path as well, because it really reflected a calling that my soul or my heart had for all these years as a kid, but I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I always had this connection. And you, obviously, you're initiated, you saw that, and automatically
Absolutely.
you recognize that
Absolutely.
in me. You're like, oh, you're Batala, I'm certain. And obviously, when we went through the whole process, it was
Right.
confirmed. But it's very interesting that the moment, it's almost like the moment the the ancestors, the angels, whatever you want to call it, decide that you have got to embrace that path. There's no
Right.
way you can run away from it.
No, absolutely not.
And it can be a rude awakening if the more you fight it, the awakening and the whole thing can be very, very, very painful.
Absolutely. Well, going back to some of the things that people shouldn't do, as you mentioned, like homosexuals and women, and there's certain things that people aren't supposed to do, but I've seen it. Okay, they say that gay people aren't supposed to be baleros. I've seen it. Okay, they say that women aren't supposed to be babalaos, or gay people aren't supposed to be babalaos. I've seen it, and it really depends on the people itself. The religion has changed in so many ways. It's changed in so many ways from its original uh, practice.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was fortunate enough to have my godfather, may he rest in peace, he just passed away. I was fortunate enough to have him as a godfather because he's been in the religion for over 50 something years. Okay, and what he practiced was the old tradition, and he embedded that in me. So that's the way I understand it. So sometimes I go places and I see people doing certain things, and it's like, yeah, not to start any trouble, I just keep my mouth quiet. But in his case, he would actually go in and say, "Tumba eso." Tumba eso means drop that because you're doing it wrong. He was just bold in that sense. So I got to understand about the religion because of him, the old traditional way. You know, but like I said, the religion has changed in like so many different ways. People just change it. They reinterpret it. I guess to their comfortability. You know.
But don't you think that's a good thing in a way? With that, I mean, by changing or by adapting it or modernizing it, did it lost its essence, or it actually probably even reached a different realm and maybe even got strengthened to a certain extent?
Uh,
Depend from which angle you look at it.
uh, when it all boils down to, okay, is whatever your spirits are telling you,
Mm.
that's what you follow. Okay, you follow your spirits. Okay, because they'll guide you. Okay,
Hmm.
they're not going to tell you to do something else and it's wrong. Just go, with your spirits.
Very good advice.
Hmm